There's a certain kind of person people turn to without even thinking about it, not because they ask for attention, not because they demand to be heard, but because they're always there, always steady, always calm, always able to carry what others can't. And after a while, it becomes expected. You become the one people call when things fall apart, the one they vent to, the one they lean on, the one who listens, even when you're tired. You learn how to respond with the right words, how to stay composed when everyone else is unraveling, how to hold space for emotions that aren't even yours. And slowly, without realizing it, you become the strong one. At first, it feels meaningful. Being needed feels like purpose. Helping feels like connection. But over time, something changes. The calls don't stop. The messages don't slow down. The weight doesn't lift. And no one ever asks, "Are you okay?" Because strength, when it's expected, stops being a gift. It becomes a role, a responsibility, a quiet contract you never signed. You start showing up for everyone, even on the days you can barely show up for yourself. You say, "I'm good," because there's no space for anything else. You listen, you reassure, you fix what you can, and then when it's over, you sit in silence, carrying everything you never said. There's a moment most people don't see, where the strong one pauses, not because they want to, but because they're exhausted. It might be small, a message you don't respond to right away, a call you let ring a little longer, a conversation where you don't have the energy to fix anything. And for the first time, you feel it, not just tired, but empty, because the truth is, being the strong one doesn't mean you don't need support. It just means you learn how to survive without it. And the longer you carry everyone else, the harder it becomes to admit that you're struggling too. So you keep going, not because you're okay, but because stopping feels like letting everyone down. And that's the quiet paradox no one talks about. The people everyone depends on are often the ones with nowhere to go, because you've built an image, reliable, unshakable, always there, and the moment you start to crack, people don't always understand it. They say things like, "You're strong, you'll be fine, you always figure it out," not realizing that those words are the very thing keeping you stuck. Because strength isn't supposed to mean carrying everything alone, and being dependable was never meant to cost you your peace. But when you've been that person for so long, it's hard to step back, hard to say no, hard to admit, "I don't have it in me today." But here's what most people don't realize. Even the strongest people need somewhere to rest, not perform, not hold it together, just exist, without expectations, without pressure, without having to be the one who fixes everything. Because if you're always the one everyone leans on and you never allow yourself to lean back, eventually there's nothing left to stand on. Stories that linger, lessons that last,